Hello again. Okay, 45, 45, 90-degree triangles we just talked about. 45, 45, 90 we talked was a 1, 1, 2. Last number is always square rooted. Okay. 30, 60, 90 is the 1, 2, 3 triangle. Last number is always square rooted. It does not go 1 and 30, 2 and 60, root 3 and 90, okay? It's not like that. We've got to think about it a little bit more than that, okay? We also said that 2 on the last video is always the hypotenuse, okay? We learned that opposite angles are the small, like if it's the smallest angle, opposite of it is the smallest side. Medium size angle is the medium side. Largest side angle, or largest angle is the largest side, okay? So if we look at this guy, a 30, 60, 90, we know this is the smallest, 30, medium, largest. Okay, what is the square root of 3? Let's think in terms of 1, 2, and root 3. Root 3 is 1.7-ish, right? So that means it has to be, it's the middle sized number. 1 is the smallest, 2 is the largest, and 1.73 is the middle number. So if we draw a reference triangle, let's just do 30, 60, 90 here. Doesn't matter. Okay, 30 is our smallest side, or our smallest angle, so our smallest side has to go there. 1, 2, or root 3. Which one's the smallest? Well, 1's the smallest, so we're going to put 1 right there. Okay, square root of, 60 is our medium, so we need to put our medium side length opposite of it. So we have 1, 2, and root 3, which is 1.7. Well, 1.7 is the medium one, so we're going to make that a root 3. 90 is our largest angle, so our largest side goes across from that, which would be 2. And then also remember, we talked about the hypotenuse is always a 2 of some sort. So we have a 30, 60 degree triangle here. We also can do, let's switch it up and make it look like this. 30 was on top there. Let's put 30 down here. We know the hypotenuse is always 2 of some sort. 30, the way I always say this is when I turned 30, I was really sad and I would want to start back over at 1. So I called that 1. Okay? And then we know it's a 1, 2, root 3 triangle. So what matters here is the angle and the side length that's opposite of it. Okay? So step 1, always, let's go ahead and draw a reference triangle that matches up with this guy. So we'll go ahead, let me switch colors because this color's not the best. Okay, so I'm going to draw another reference triangle here. 90 degrees. Okay, I have a 60 and a 90, so I know this one has to be 30. Make my orientation of my reference triangle the same. 30, we know it's going to be a 1, 2, 3. Square root is on the last number. 2 is always the hypotenuse, so let's just go ahead and get rid of that guy. 30 and 60, which one's smaller? 30 degrees is smaller, 1 is smaller, so 1 goes opposite of that. 60 is square root of 3. Okay, let's go ahead and solve. Which one? Let's just solve for x, go alphabetical order. So we'll go 5 over x. 5 is on the left side, so we're going to go root 3 because that is the same positioning. X is on the bottom, 2 is on the bottom. Cross multiply that guy. So you get 5 times 2 is 10. X times root 3, we'll call x root 3. Gotta divide by our square root. So we get x equals 10 square roots of 3. We can't have radicals in the denominator, and it wants simplest radical form, so we need to rationalize this guy, okay? Remember, to rationalize, we just multiply top and bottom by the square root that we're trying to get rid of on the bottom. 10 root 3, 10 square roots of 3. Root 3 times root 3, that's root 9, which is square root of 9, which is 3. So here is your x. Guys, we're going to be doing lots of radicals and lots of rationalization, okay? So if you are having troubles with this, go ahead and Google rationalizing radicals, okay? Get a little bit of extra help on that. They're not going to go away, especially when we're talking about geometry and trigonometry, which is what we're in right now. All right, so rationalize radicals. If you need help with that, get that extra help. Let's find y. So we'll do 5 over y equals root 3 over 1. Crisscross applesauce that guy. So 5 times 1 is 5. Y times root 3 is root 3y, or y root 3. That's fine. We need to divide by our radical. 5 square roots of 3 in the denominator equals y. Can't have a radical in the denominator, so we need to rationalize it. Whatever we're trying to get rid of in the denominator is the radical 3. Let's multiply top and bottom by radical 3. So we get 5 radical 3. Radical 3 times radical 3 is radical 3. I'm sorry, is just 3. Okay, and that's why. Sorry. So really quick, let's just go on a little tangent and say, why does this work? Why can we multiply this by radical 3 over radical 3? Well, what is radical 3 over radical 3? It's 1. If we look at, let's say, what's 5 over 5? It's 1. What's negative 1 over negative 1? It's 1. What's root 3 over root 3? It's 1. We can multiply anything by 1 and we get the same exact value out, okay? So in this case, this is equivalent to this. It's just written in a rational, with a rationalized denominator, okay? All right, let's look at this guy. So we need to draw another reference triangle. So we got 30 here. Opposite of 30 is 1. Hypotenuse is always 2 of some sort. It's a 30, 60, 90 triangle, so I know it's a 1, 2, 3. Last number is always radical, so then this means that's radical. Let's find m. So we need m over the side we know, which is root 5. M corresponds with root 3. Root 5 corresponds with 2. Cross multiply. M times 2 is 2m. Root 5 times root 3 is root 15. Remember, if they're both radicals, you can just multiply the numbers inside. We need to get m by itself, so we're going to divide both by 2. And that's fine. You can have a regular number in the denominator, no problem. You just can't have a radical in the denominator. Okay, last one on this guy. We got to find n. So let's go n over root 5. N corresponds with 1. Root 5 corresponds with 2. Cross multiply. 1 times radical 5. N times 2. Divide by 2. Divide by 2. N is square root of 5 over 2. Yes, those numbers look nasty. It's fine. All right, we're going to do 2 more because this is so important, you guys. Okay, here we go, 30, 60, 90 again. So let's go ahead, draw our reference triangle that looks like it. I want you guys to get to the point where you're drawing these reference triangles and you're like, oh my gosh, not another reference triangle. I know this. That's good because that means you are committing it to memory and you're getting it. Okay, n over what we know. So n over 7/2 equals n corresponds with square root of 3 over what corresponds with 7/2 is 1. Holy moly, that looks disgusting. But don't worry, we can do it. It's a fraction over a fraction. Just make it simple. N times 1 is n. And then we have to do 7 times 7/2 times radical 3. Remember when we multiply fractions, we go straight across, okay? So we're going to give this guy a denominator. If it doesn't have a denominator, it's always 1. And we're just going to go straight across, okay? So we got n equals 7 square roots of 3. 2 times 1 is 2. We're good. Can't simplify that anymore. All right, now let's find the m. So we'll go m over 7/2. M corresponds with 2. 7/2 corresponds with 1. Cross multiply. So n times 1 is 7/2 times 2. Anything can have a denominator of 1. 7 times 2 is 14. 2 times 1 is 2. Straight across. 14 divided by 2 is 7. So there's your m. If you guys like to cross cancel, I always was not a big fan of cross canceling, but you have a 2 and a 2, so you could have canceled those out and seen it was just 7 over 1. Whatever you're comfortable with. All right, last one. Don't get too excited. Okay, 60 degrees. Opposite of 60 degrees is radical 3. 30, opposite of 30 degrees is 1. Hypotenuse is always a 2 of some sort, okay? Remember, we had 30, 60, 90. That's a 1, 2, root 3. Hypotenuse is always a 2 of some sort. All right, so we need, let's find x first. So 2 over x equals 2 over square roots of 3. Cross multiply. 2 radical 3 equals 2x. Divide by 2. We can cancel these 2's out because this is a multiplication. If it was addition or subtraction, we couldn't. No sign in math means it's multiplication. So cross out the 2's. Square root of 3 is x. Well, don't those look the same? 2, 2, root 3, root 3. I wonder what y is going to be. Y is going to be 1. If you're not 100% with that, do the ratios and solve. So we would do 2 over y equals 2 over 1 equals 2 over 1. Cross multiply. Bada bing, bada boom. There we go.